let's get out on the Western Pizza guest hotline quickly. He's on loan to us from TNT, Sportsnet Pittsburgh, Sportsnet Regular, Spitting Chicklets, Game Notes, ACT Arena. Where else are you working these days, Colby?
Buddy, I'll tell you what I'm not going to be taking. The weather read from you. I mean, that was just unbelievable before this whole thing started. The weather you did. I don't think I could do that, but just listening to you drop all the weather lingo too. Like, oh my God, Bart.
Old school.
Beautiful.
Old school stuff, right? I could be on CJWW or CTV back in the day with Greg Barnsley.
I was dying.
Craig Barnsley.
What about Kay? What about like one of those beauty Sasky storms? You haven't been around for one of those in a while, but remember those as a kid? Mm-hmm. The snow rolling in and then the wind, because your house was the last one in Arundel. You guys would have got the nasty wind.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were right on the outskirts of town. You could see the highway in behind us. Now it's all neighborhoods as I grew up, but yeah, it was like the biggest backyard in the world. Flattest you could see forever. We used to have these giant storms, and I remember we'd still go out and play, you'd still like go outside, like, sweet, a storm. And I remember I tracked this jackrabbit for like, I feel like kilometers. Like I was going hard after this jackrabbit, and he'd slow down just enough for me to get close. He was huge too, but I never really seen anything like that. But when you're on the outskirts, you get a little action, you get a little extra action.
Yeah,
it was, it's been some time though, boys. I got to say, it's been some time. I'm kind of a wimp now. We had a big snowstorm in Pittsburgh the other day, and snow fell. I had the snow blower out, which I was ashamed to use my snow blower. I felt like my neighbors were judging me. They were shoveling. Like, we don't get much snow very often, but I got the snow blower now. And it snows a couple times a year, but I felt deep inside of me, my Saskatchewan roots, like I'm letting everyone down. And I felt judged as I was snow blowing my driveway, that the other neighbors are like, isn't he from Canada? Like, what a loser. How's he using a snowblower? Yeah. But it saved me a lot of time, so it saved me time.
We'll have to get Wayner to maybe send you one from Home Hardware up on Central Ave or something. Get you an old school one. Okay, I want to know, just take our people
on Pilsner.
Yeah, take us through your day today, because Sasky beauty, Sasky gentleman, but like you're hopping all over the place. I see you on Toronto, then I see you in the Pittsburgh game the other day. We're on the bus watching, and then today you're like, you fly to Atlanta and then they pick you up and you go to do TNT tonight. Like, just take me through your day.
Yeah, like my week in general. Like I'll do like 45 TV Penguins games this year. And when I'm not doing the TV, I switch out with Phil Bourque, the old 2-9er, great analyst here in Pittsburgh, been around forever, won cups in the 90s. So he'll flip, I'll do radio. So some games I'm doing radio. If I'm not doing it on TV, I'm still at the rink working that. And then my midweeks are pretty chaotic with TNT, Sportsnet, and then Game Notes on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. We're going 11 o'clock Eastern time. We got to bump it up. I got to catch a flight with the Penguins as soon as I get back to go to Ottawa, Montreal, road trip back home, little home and home with Montreal. So yeah, it's been a grind. And then with the Olympics this year, guys, like you guys know, the schedule's pretty hot and heavy.
Yeah.
So I had a little 2-week break with the Penguins going over to Sweden. It was nice. I didn't go to Sweden. I stayed home and did radio off a monitor, which is like kind of crazy, but it was nice. I liked it. Because I didn't have to travel all the way over to Sweden. I lived there for a year, so I'm like, I'm good. But yeah, this year's been pretty wild. Been pretty busy. It's been nice.
That seems like it'd be a perfect Game Notes with Merle's a little live in Sweden thing. But I want to let's get your take. Let's get your take on this trade, and it's awesome. I called it deadly in our text message. They play against each other tonight. Like, perfect how it works out.
Yeah, both goalies wearing their old team helmets. I didn't see if Tristan got a new helmet yet. He kind of had the jump with the pads already, though. Pretty interesting. So, it's crazy how it's worked out. I got traded and had to play. I went to Atlanta, had to play the Penguins like 2 weeks later, which was, I don't know, I found it to be kind of emotional. Now, I saw Kulak and Skinner's interviews this morning at Morning Skate, and they seem to be kind of on to the next thing, and like, this is what happens. And I know they're coming from a situation that was, there's a lot of noise around Skinner, quite a bit of noise. I don't know if Kulak necessarily expected it, but Yeah, I think a good old-fashioned like goalie for goalie hockey traits. Kulak's thrown in there, which is good for the Penguins. They could really use a guy like that. He's played 82 games the last 3 years, and then I think bumped up to around 23 minutes in the playoffs last year, playing in all those games. So yeah, I think a valuable guy for them. But for the goalies, like I think Skinner's out of the pressure cooker. You know, he's in a situation where it's different. Jari kind of, I think, had a little bit of his hair standing up on his back all year. It was like a little prickly with the season he had last year and what he went through and being put on waivers and being in the minors. And yeah, that was self-inflicted. But I think also at the same time, like for both guys, it's probably a good thing. And, you know, to be in different situations. I think if I look at it, I think they're both good goalies. I think Jari naturally is probably more of a pedigree and is probably looked at as being a better overall goaltender. I think with his movement, his technique, and he's played really good this year. Like he's been lights out, and he's had stretches, guys, through the last few years that have been like he's strung like 13, 15 games together, collecting points, and had played really, really well. So they're getting a hungry guy in there. Yeah, he has some warts and has some past experiences that weren't as good, and he kind of fell flat on his face a few times, but they're getting a hungry guy coming in there. And I think for Skinner coming our way, it's going to be great because I think he's just in the pressure cooker and he just needed a new place to kind of breathe a bit, and he'll get that in Pittsburgh.
And a beauty guy. Like he just seems like a dude. Just seems like a dude.
And we get more Western guys in Pittsburgh. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. We get the Western guys in there. We need a few more of them. I've been telling like Ben Kindle, Harrison Brunick will be on the World Junior team as well, and we got Dewar. We got a bunch of guys. I think they just they haven't had that many Western guys in a while, but this year for whatever reason we've got a lot of guys. So I'm loving the mix. I'm loving the guys, and with Western guys you get good character, good personalities, good teammates, guys that can fit in good with everyone. So there'll be no problem coming into this room.
It just seems like playing goal, as you would know, Colby, there's more of a psychological sort of side to that than maybe being a forward or a defenseman where you just go hard physically. I'm really curious as to what's going to happen with Stuart Skinner with so much less pressure, a ton less pressure on him in Pittsburgh because the Steelers are going to make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is coming out of nowhere as a great quarterback. He's not even going to be talked about a lot. I just got this very. I'm really interested to see how he's going to do without, like seemingly a piano on his shoulders like he had in Edmonton.
Yeah, Don. I'm curious too, man. Like I that's why I think it'll be a good change for him. Like when you're a goalie, like, you know, how do you assess your game, right? Like you could lose, 5-4, but these guys assess it totally different. Like it's like, how did that goal go in? It's different than like, okay, we didn't have our best, structural game as a team and this and that. Like goalies are just in such a different world. They can play great and still lose, and that's real. That's real when it comes down to that position. So managing that has been different. Then, you just put them in a room where the expectations, I think, are a little different. Like if the Penguins make the playoffs this year, it's awesome. If the Oilers are trying to win a Stanley Cup, like that's where they're at the last few years. And so he gets to, get out of that and kind of, I think the best way to explain it is take a breath, and he seems like he has a great head on his shoulders. Like he understands his position. He understands what he has to be good individually. Like goalies are more, I've come from interviewing them, like more thoughtful about their position and about their play than like the players in general. And, Stuart Skinner kind of has that with him. And I'm sure you guys are experienced with that with the runs the Oilers have had. But I think good for both teams. I think this is going to be good for both teams, both guys in particular. And we get our first taste of it tonight. Crazy how that happens right away.
Awesome. I'll be gambling on it for sure because I'm going to be watching it anyways.
Hey, how about this? How about this, Bart?
Okay.
You got Leon Draisaitl, 1 point. He gets 1,000. Sid, 2 points. He ties Mario all-time points in Penguins history, which is massive in Pittsburgh. And and big. I think if Connor gets another point or two, he passes Marian Hossa. He starts climbing the list in like 760 some games. If you keep going down the list of accomplishments and milestones and stuff. So tonight's game is on top of those trades and those guys facing their old team is pretty cool.
Wow, a lot of game notes. I look at you doing your research too, probably on the flight this morning. Scholar.
I'm a hockey nerd.
Hey, okay, I want to ask you this because you watch so much hockey. I'm going to ask John Keane about the WHL later in the show, but I want to ask you, who's the team maybe, Colbs, that we're not talking about right now that you've seen that you're like, they could maybe be that sneaky team they're built, right? Maybe a couple injuries right now, but who's that team?
In the Western League?
No, in the NHL.
Oh, sneaky team in the NHL. Jeez. Well, looking at the East, it could be like anybody. Like, it could be anybody. Do you hear Jarmo Kekalainen this morning? He's talking about they're going to make the playoffs, and they're like, what, 7 points out? Is he going to go and do something in there? Like, everyone's kind of in it still. It's still early enough. 32 games played pretty much this year. So, if there's one team... San Jose just like came back on the Penguins the other day. If I had to go out west to celebrate, fifth, got hurt. Hopefully he's okay. I've loved watching them there, and they've kind of made some big strides and some big steps. They're seemingly a fun team to watch too. So a lot of the guys with the youth movement, some of those teams. Too bad with Connor Bedard being out and what he's done in Chicago. That he's been electric. Like he's been a dog, like an absolute dog. I didn't know that he could. I don't know he could turn into that. So he's taken a massive step. Yeah, we're seeing the injury right now off a face-off near the end of the game at the final buzzer, which stinks. Yeah. But
Zone G Red Wing kind of hit him there, eh? A little bit, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, did he give him a little shove, a little Zone G shove?
He boxed out.
And just boxed him out. Bedard's out. Yeah, it's a shame. I would look at some of those younger teams though. Like they've looked hungry, and some of those younger teams with some stars on their team, they've been really fun to watch.
Well, two comments. First of all, have we ever seen this much parity in the NHL? And then with the condensed Olympic schedule, it's helping the younger teams. Maybe they're not getting as tired as much because the injuries are mounting, aren't they, Colby, in the NHL? Like
they're mounting.
Matheson is hurt now too in Montreal.
Yeah. Guys are dropping like flies, and it's not just like regular guys. Like a lot of big name guys have been dropping and getting injured and getting dinged up, and the Penguins have been like rolling like 3 games in 4 nights, and it's been crazy every week. So for the broadcasters, man, I'm tired. Like I am tired. So you can imagine. I think there is. I think there is definitely an advantage for the young guy now with this schedule, no question. Don, when you look at it, and being able to withstand the rigors of it and not as much to warm up, and the energy levels are a little high, and taking care of your body's a little easier. And I definitely think there's a little bit of an advantage there. No question.
Okay. What were your first thoughts when you heard about the rink not being completed in Italy, and then that it's going to be shorter? It's going to have that little Archibald or Aberdeen feel.
Oh, buddy, I played in some of these barns. Look at this. Yeah, it's just my initial reaction though is like, it's hilarious. Like, who are we blaming it? Is it the Olympic Committee? Like, is it the construction company? Like, the deadline? I don't know. Like, what kind of numbers and graphs were they? I posted a tweet. I took the blame for it at Honest Armies Contracting. I said, sorry about that. I didn't know an Italian foot was 11 inches, and not, you add it up, all of a sudden you're short. But like, I don't care. And Billy Guerin said that the other day. Like, he got asked on Chicklets the other day. He doesn't care either. Like, they're going to go play. They're going to get it done. They'll figure out a way to get this rink done. And like, just imagine like some of these guys like an extra foot closer to the net, or in tighter quarters, possibly with a Tom Wilson, and what that would be like off the forecheck. And some of these little things. I played in rinks in like Binghamton in the American League, and their neutral zone was really small. And I got hit by Anton Volchenkov with like, I don't even know how. I didn't go down, but I couldn't see for a while. Like I was blind. He blinded me a bit. I saw like a white tunnel down the middle like this. And then it came back later. I was good. But that's a little extra in the neutral zone where there's not as much room to work in that area where you can necessarily make some things happen. And D nowadays, they stay way more up on you. They're going forward more than are going backwards. So it should lend itself to, I think, more skill being used. I think possibly more physicality, more skill in tight spaces, which is awesome. I like that. And I think we should be able to see some high octane action. What do you want, Olympic ice, Barney?
Oh man, those guys are gonna be moving so fast through.
Maybe it'll slow them down a bit. Actually, it'll slow them down.
Oh,
a bit,
it will slow them down.
It's going to be such a cool watch. Okay, so I ran into your dad I'll run into him this weekend up in Saskatoon at the big tournament. Ran into him in the Regina, and he said, "Hey, I like the show." And I don't know. I was like, "Wayne, I think you're lying to me."
Oh yeah.
I don't know. But then I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I'm like, "I got to ask you about this weapon, Colson. If you're watching the stream, your boy
Cruiser.
Okay, Colby." Like there's
That's
and
cool.
the elite
Nice shot.
prospects picture is even more, but it's kind of watermarked. Does he ever look like you with the full bubble and the full like in real life? Does he look pretty similar?
I don't think so. I think he's much cuter and more handsome. Can I say that? Yeah. He'll be like, "Dad, shut up. God, I'm 15, man. It sucks." But yeah, I think he does. Like my brother will text me every once in a while, and Riles, he works for the Flyers, and he'll like watch his games and stuff and be like, "Man, he looks exactly like you." And I found that to be when I watch other players and their kids, I'm like, oh my God, they move the same, they look the same. So it's kind of funny how that's kind of sprouted up, but my nose is mangled.
Yeah. What?
Got a long way to go to catch the nose.
What? And he's at he's at a prep school right now because he's 2010, right?
Yeah, he's 15. He's at Mount St. Charles Academy in Rhode Island actually right now. So just another week of school. He'll be home for Christmas, which is nice. I miss him. He's been there now 2 years. So thank God for the internet. Otherwise, I wouldn't see much of him with my schedule. And so able to watch him and get a few trips in early before, NHL season starts and I get really working. But yeah, he's loving it there. Lives in the dorms there. Wow. He's pumped, and of course he got drafted this past summer to the Seattle Thunderbirds. So I went to camp there. That was an eye opener, getting in there with all the Western kids. Like, oh yeah, like that's hockey, baby. So he takes that.
It's hard on families in some respects. I made the mistake one time. I was doing a story on Patrick Marleau down in Aneroid, Saskatchewan, and he had to move to Swift Current at 14. I mean, Aneroid's in the middle of nowhere. And like a fool, I asked his mother, was it hard when Patrick had to move as a 14-year-old to Swift Current? She burst into tears. I felt like a complete idiot. Yeah. But tell me about that from your own family's perspective. It's hard, isn't it? I mean, it's just like your little guy and for your wife, and he has to go to pursue hockey.
Yeah, and it's... it's different. Where we're from in Pittsburgh, like the hockey's good and stuff, but it's like if you're in Saskatoon, like you can play, the citywide stuff and play on your local team, and there's enough kids to play there, and then you can go play hopefully Blazers and Contacts, and you take the steps all the way up till you get there. You're Regina, you can play for the Junior Canadians and get work your way there. So it's just different where we're from, and a lot of teams, like there's kids, like we played kids on like LA Junior Kings and like the Anaheim Ducks and like Texas. The Dallas Junior Stars and the Florida whatever, and they are flying on airplanes every weekend, and they are driving to the rink for 3 hours stuck in traffic to get to the only rink that they're closest to for their team to practice. So it's kind of set up a little differently if you're if you're taking steps and want to keep pursuing hockey, that eventually, like anywhere else in Canada, you got to do it too. But at 14, we had to send him there, and thought it would be a good place for him, and it's turned out to be pretty good. He's taken some good steps this season, and so we'll see how well they can finish. They'll be in nationals. They qualified for that, which is in Green Bay. So I'm gonna be able to get out there actually for a few games. I've never been there, so it'll be kind of cool near the end of the year.
You know what it's like, man? It's like driving into Moose Jaw It's like driving into Moose Jaw and all you see is a football stadium. It's super cool. Wait, you'll be like, oh, this is exactly what
I bet.
buddy, I know you're like so busy. Totally appreciate this. As always, won't be able to talk to you before Christmas. I'll send you a picture of the storm that rolls through tomorrow, though, just so you get the feels in you. But have a good one tonight. Thanks for doing this, Colby.
All right, Don, Barney, thanks a lot. Merry Christmas. Appreciate it. Hello to everyone in Saskatchewan. I know my dad's listening too. What's up, Dad? Shout out. Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks,
have a
Colby.
good one.